DocTalk is brought to you by Merck Animal Health, the science of healthier animals.
Hey folks, Dr. Dan Thompson here. Thanks for joining me today on DocTalk. We're going to talk about one of my favorite things to talk about, cattle handling and cattle facilities. There are many things being done, being explored, and more that we're learning about cattle and cattle behavior. Stay tuned for a great show.
No one plans to get sick or injured, but when life happens, it's important you and your family are protected. Kansas Farm Bureau health plans are there to provide continued health care coverage to meet your needs. Choose from a broad range of individual and family plans. And if you're over 65, we have options for you too. Learn more at kfbhealthplans.com or contact a Farm Bureau Financial Services agent near you.
Okay, looks like it's time for our tour. Welcome to the Fort Wallace Museum. Here at the museum, you're going to find some really interesting stuff like our replica stagecoach from the Butterfield Overland Dispatch. We've got facades from the fort buildings. We've got an 1870s flag. There's a plesiosaur that was discovered locally. We've got the Ray pump organ collection. We're a little bitty place with a great big story, and we'd love to have you.
Highways 40, 83, and I-70 come together right here in Oakley. Roads that lead to businesses, to magnificent rock formations, to scenic vistas, to places where legends were made. Roads that lead us home. Discover Oakley, the gateway to western Kansas.
This segment is brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
Hey folks, Dr. Dan from DocTalk here. I'm at Iowa State University. I'm the department head of animal science, and we're building exciting programs for students that want to come and be a part of animal agriculture, whether you're in dairy, swine, poultry. We're building a new turkey facility, feedlot, feed mill, many different programs here at Iowa State University with some of the world's elite faculty. So come on and join us. We'll be up here. But anyway, we're going to talk about cattle handling and facilities. And one of the things that we're talking about with cattle behavior, the first thing is it starts at the ranch. And the one thing we're trying to do whenever we work with an animal or whenever we handle an animal is we're trying to build trust. And the reason why it's important to build trust is in the predator-prey relationship, we are considered the predator to the calf. The calf we don't think of cattle coming and trying to eat us. So cattle are trying to gain trust with us to understand, is this someone that I can let my guard down? Can I show them clinical signs? In the feedlot, if we don't have cattle that are acclimated to human-animal interactions, it is much more difficult for us to spot or see bovine respiratory disease. You wouldn't go and tell your best friend you would tell your best friend your deepest, darkest secrets, but someone you don't trust, you don't tell them too much. Well, cattle aren't any different. They're like, well, can I trust them? So when I talk to people at sale barns and I talk to people around the country, they talk about this undomestication of our cow herd. And I ask them more about what that means. And they start to say, well, you know, we have a bale on the back of the truck and we pull in and we get out long enough to take the bale wrap off, I hope. And then we undo the bale and we drive off. We have fence line feed bunks now for our cows. And so we pull up with the tractor with the mixer wagon on and we dump the feed in the bunk. And we never get out of the tractor. The cattle don't see a person walking around on the ground. They don't see a person horseback. We kind of check them as we drive by in the tractor, which is logical. And then when we doctor them these days, we pull up to the herd, and the one that's limping or the one with the pink eye, we roll down the window and we shoot them. So when you start to think about all the different ways that we used to interact with cattle, we used to ride through them to check them. We used to put out supplement for the calves on the ground or cubes. We had bell rings, and you'd get out and move, and they would see you around your cow herd. They had a better understanding of who you are, what a person was. Now, if you pull in with a flatbed pickup and there's no bale on the back, the cows go, someone's getting shot. So they take off for the back 40. When those cattle get to the auction market, they're hard to handle. They're wild in the ring. That decreases the price that you're going to get for those calves. The other thing that happens is when they get to the feedlot, it takes that much longer for us to acclimate them and gain trust in those cattle, even when we would use low-stress cattle handling through our facilities. So what happens on the ranch as far as the vaccinations, the feeding program, exposing, the weaning, acclimating them to the human-animal interaction, and being able to take cues might be the most important. More to come after this.
At Farm Credit, we partner with America's farmers who work hard each and every day to grow the food that we all enjoy. It's not an easy task, but it's an important one. Farm Credit is proud to work with farmers and ranchers, lending support in rural America.
KFRM is one of the largest farm radio stations in the nation, dedicated to informing and entertaining rural listeners from northern Oklahoma to southwestern Nebraska. You can catch KFRM in many ways. Of course, 550 on the AM dial, streaming at kfrm.com, or on your smartphone by going to the TuneIn Radio app, or on Ag AM in Kansas on Tuesdays and Facebook every day of the week. KFRM, tune us in. You'll be glad you did.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Join Ag AM in Kansas, everyone, Monday through Friday mornings on local stations throughout the state of Kansas, and every day on your favorite social media. Monday kicks off with Dr. Dan Thompson on DocTalk, as he's joined by leading veterinarians and nutritionists in food animal production. They discuss current production challenges and tips on how to deal and prepare for those challenges. Tuesdays on Farm Factor, it is our friends here at KFRM Radio with interviews from top experts in agriculture. Wednesday, it is a little of Kansas history with Deb Goodrich on Around Kansas. Thursday, Britton Rucker brings us Ag Etc. This day is filled with agricultural research and ag happenings around the Midwest, including our new Young Leaders in Ag segment. We end the week with Authentic Ag and updates from your local checkoff programs. Make sure to check your local listings or like us on Facebook and Twitter at Ag AM in Kansas and on YouTube at Farming Unlimited TV, so you never miss an episode. Thanks for watching.
This segment is brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson here at Iowa State University's Department of Animal Science. We're going to talk about cattle facilities. So let's talk about, now that we've talked about behavior and the importance of it, we'll talk about moving those cattle from the loadout to the squeeze chute. And when we first think about this, the loadout is so important. And the one thing I want to have with the loadout is I want to make sure that I have flexibility, meaning that if someone doesn't back up exactly square or exactly straight, that I don't have cattle get injured. You can build these nice swivels on the bottom that when someone pulls up just a little bit off angle, that thing will suck up tight and prevent any type of area where a calf could step down through in a hole and create an injury. So it's something that I really like on the front of these loadouts if you can build them. Another thing is to have flexibility on the sides of my loadout, so that if someone isn't exactly straight to the side, where I usually have a solid concrete wall or solid wood or solid steel, that I can flex or move and make sure that my doors to my truck are absolutely square and aligned with the loadout. What happens if I'm off 6 inches? If I'm off 6 inches, every calf coming through there catches a shoulder. The other thing I do is I'll walk the facility. I walk down my loadout before I unload or load cattle, looking for a hole, looking for a piece of metal that might gouge them or make them injured. If you have cattle in your facility that are only lame on one side of their body, you have a piece of metal somewhere between your loadout and your processing barn or your chute that's creating a hole, that's creating a place where they're getting caught, places where they're hitting themselves as they go around corners, that's creating an injury. If it's infectious, it would be multiple limbs, it would be multiple sides of the body, but if it's one side of the body, you can almost bet you've got a problem. Receiving pens, we move the calves to the receiving pens, and the thing in the receiving pens, the first thing calves want to do is lay down. If it's hot weather, some of the things we can do is put in shade. Other things we can do is put down bedding. Bedding will get those calves up off the ground. If it's 97 degrees outside, that dirt is 140 degrees. Putting some bedding on there will decrease the amount of temperature on that place where the calves lay by 25 to 30 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a big deal. If it's muddy, we got to get the box blade out. And it isn't that you have to clean the whole pen, but if you can make one lap around that pen with a box blade and give those animals a track, a dry place or a dry track to lay down, it's super important, and they'll be very, very comfortable. Okay. The other thing is plenty of water tank. Want to make sure the calves can find the water tank. The way that calves find a water tank is by hearing, by smell, and by sight. So sometimes I'll pop the plug and clean the water tank, get a little bit of a puddle out in front, something that cattle can see and understand. I might turn on the pitcock so they hear running water. I'm also going to put some fluffed up hay in the bunk. And so we probably run about 75 to 100 square foot in our receiving pens, because those calves are only going to be in that pen long enough until I can get them processed and then moved out onto the yard or moved to some grass or someplace where they're going to stay in a more permanent location. More to come after this. Hey folks, Dr. Dan here. Welcome to Cattle First, as sponsored by Beringer Ingelheim Vet Medica. And the term today, biosecurity. Biosecurity is security. It's like having a bouncer that keeps pathogens out and keeps disease out of your herd. One of the best tools you can use for biosecurity is a proper vaccination program, and work with your veterinarian on that. The second one is introduction of new animals. And when we bring new animals on the farm, making sure that if there's a disease that is important that we test for, that we have that done prior to bringing them on the premise. And if they haven't been, then we have a place to quarantine them until we can get the diagnostics back, I think is vitally important. Talking to your neighbors as cattle lean across the fence and communicate with each other, making sure that you have a community-wide biosecurity plan and vaccination plan, vitally important. Keep the disease out, be the bouncer.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, cleaner American fuel. Message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
These days, no one can afford to take the risk of being without financial protection against high health care costs, not even for a few days. Kansas Farm Bureau health plans offer short-term health care coverage to fill in those temporary gaps. Short-term health plans can provide you with medical coverage when you are between health plans, helping lower your potential financial risk. Learn more at kfbhealthplans.com or contact a Farm Bureau financial services agent near you.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
This segment is brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
Hey folks, Dr. Dan from DocTalk here. We're going to move these calves now from the receiving pen to the chute. And we're doing a lot of work here at Iowa State. We're building some new facilities. We're going to have all these different things. But the three types of systems that we use as crowding systems to move cattle from alley to the snake, we'll use a tub, we'll use a bud box, or we'll use what we call now a bud tub. And so, first of all, the tub system is designed, the Temple Grandin, it's solid-sided, it's a circular motion, and the two most important things of using a tub, like you see here, is to make sure that this alley comes at an angle such that when the calves go around that center post, they think they're going back where they came from. The other thing that is vitally important is that the entrance to the tub is the same width as the alley in which the cattle are coming from. So, if I got a 12-foot alley, I got to have a 12-foot tub. Now, when you see people that have a straight tub or a half tub where these cattle are going straight into a place that just narrows, that's when you have cattle that turn around. If you design this tub correctly, where the cattle go around the center point with the same width of tub as what the alley is, when you're grabbing that gate to shut it on the tub, the only thing you're going to see is their tails. Now, a bud box is rectangular. And it's open sides. You can work cattle from outside the bud box or within the bud box. The bud box is 20 foot long and 12 foot wide. You can build it out in your pasture with 6 panels. So what we'll do is we'll open up, the only solid side that we use is the gate that is in the alley that we shut so that it is dead even with the exterior side of our snake, okay, as seen in this picture. So what we'll do is we open up the bud box, those cattle will come into the bud box, and then I will shut that gate. As I shut the gate, and I position myself then along the side, the same side as the snake is, those cattle will make a natural circular pattern around me as I put pressure on them, and they will go straight into the snake. Couple of things about the bud box. One, it's open sides. 2, you want to make sure that you don't bring any more cattle into the bud box than will fit once into the snake. Now, the reason why some of these people are putting double snakes isn't because the cattle go in them any easier. It's because I can hold more cattle in a double snake. So when I bring those cattle up and I put them to that point and they go into the snake, I'm using their natural instincts of circling around, going into that snake, and again, don't bring any more that can fit. The new apparatus that we have is what we call the bud tub, and it is a combination of the bud box and the tub system. And what you can do is you can see from this is that the design is like a tub or a dead end tub, where these cattle are brought into the system on the side right here. They come in, we shut the gate. This is solid-sided. These animals go around the tub, and then they come back. Once they see that it's a dead end, they come back the direction in which they came, which cattle, horses, people love to do. And we use that natural behavior for those cattle to come right around, and the side gate is shut, and they go straight into the snake or the handling facility to take them from in a single file to the chute. More to come after these messages.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm, so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well on their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we'd be glad to answer it and work with you.
I'm Bob Swartz, and I've devoted the last 43 years to helping Kansans reach their retirement goals and to protect the family farm. At Bob Swartz Financial, we believe everyone should be able to live the retirement they've always dreamed of. Our team of professionals can help you create an efficient strategy using a variety of investment vehicles to help you address your financial needs and your concerns. Bob Swartz Financial values commitment and transparency.
This segment is brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. So we got the cattle into the snake, and now they're headed to the chute. There are different things that we can do, but the big thing to think about is the size of the cattle. And if you don't have adjustable sides on your snake, we all know this. When we're working in the same facility, if we work little calves, they turn around. If we work big cattle, they get stuck, right? So when we look at some of these straight alleys or straight snakes, one of the things that's important is to make sure that you have an ability to decrease the width or increase the width to work the proper cattle or the size cattle that you want. The other one is in some of these Daniel systems. Danny Daniels does a great job of the flexible sides and the flexible no backs. And so then you can adjust the no backs with the hydraulics so that the calves don't get back and don't continue to move back. If you don't have that luxury or don't have that option and you're going to use something that's straight, then we have to go at a V. And generally speaking, if you're going to go solid sided at a V and you don't want cattle to turn around, we'll go 16 inches at the bottom to 32 inches at the top on a 5 foot snake tub. The one thing that I always make sure of, whether it's a straight or a curved snake, is I want the cattle to be able to see me. One of the biggest mistakes I see made is that people make these tall single files where they have to get up on a catwalk for the cattle to communicate with them. The cattle want to know where you want them to go. So making sure that you drop 2 or 3 boards down so that the calves can see you. Obviously you want a cage or something on top so that they can't jump out, but I want something that they're going to communicate with me so that as I start to move past their point of balance or past their eye, they see me and they move forward, rather than me getting up on top, making the cattle look up here and feel uncomfortable moving forward. I prefer those straight alleys. I prefer the open sides on the alleys. If you build a curved alley or a curved single file, one thing you have to make sure of, you may have some open sides on the inside, but never, ever have open sides. Always have a solid side on the back side of a curved snake, because cattle will paddle and they will stick their legs out the sides on the outside wall of that snake or single file. Lots of things to think about with these hydraulic chutes. Sometimes we have to build a little expanded metal ramp to help cattle walk up into the chute so they don't jump. One thing on the no-backs, I'll give you a little test. When we have no-backs that are large, they look like a fence to cattle. One of the things we've done in packing plants is actually put some wrap around them to make the no-back solid so the cattle can't see through them. So then they have to look underneath. As they look underneath, they automatically go and keep moving. Lots of little different tricks, lots of things on facilities. We're going to keep updating you on these. Thanks for watching DocTalk. Remember, always work with your local veterinarian. And if you want to know what we do here at DocTalk, you can find us on the web at www.doctalktv.com. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you down the road.
DocTalk is brought to you by Merck Animal Health, the science of healthier animals.
Welcome to the Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center, right here in my hometown of Oakley, Kansas. We're the front door of Western Kansas, located on 3 main highways, I-70, US 83, and US 40. And all those roads lead to history, beautiful scenery, and adventure, no matter which direction you go. We now have an IHOP. That brand that you've trusted up and down the road in all your travels is staffed with local folks, real people, just like you and me, and we're waiting on you to join us. So for fun, adventure, fuel up, fuel your body, and let's have some fun.
In 1821, a trade route was opened from Missouri in the United States across prairies and mountains to Mexico. In 2021, we will mark 200 years of epic conflicts and grand adventures, larger-than-life personalities, and sweeping landscapes. Join us on an historic journey. The Santa Fe Trail lives on.
Find us on social media or santafetrail.org.
Join Ag AM in Kansas, everyone, Monday through Friday mornings on local stations throughout the state of Kansas, and every day on your favorite social media. Monday kicks off with Dr. Dan Thompson on DocTalk, as he's joined by leading veterinarians and nutritionists in food animal production. They discuss current production challenges and tips on how to deal and prepare for those challenges. Tuesdays on Farm Factor, it is our friends here at KFRM Radio with interviews from top experts in agriculture. Wednesday, it is a little of Kansas history with Deb Goodrich on Around Kansas. Thursday, Britton Rucker brings us Ag Etc. This day is filled with agricultural research and ag happenings around the Midwest, including our new Young Leaders in Ag segment. We end the week with Authentic Ag and updates from your local checkoff programs. Make sure to check your local listings or like us on Facebook and Twitter at Ag AM in Kansas and on YouTube at Farming Unlimited TV so you never miss an episode. Thanks for watching.